Hello, and welcome to Workshop Studios. What's this big giant mess behind me here? Well, this is an ongoing project, and I'll have several videos on it. Maybe they'll post up there, or this one will be posted up on top of theirs. But this is a shop redo video. And you can see the shop is, it's sort of organized. It's not bad, but it's in a mess right now because I'm taking everything out. But today's video is specifically about our old friend here, this workbench. And I just want to give you a quick history on that old workbench. It probably was built in the 1920s by a fellow who was a mining engineer, and then lived across the street from my parents. And when I got married and moved out, he said, "Would you like my old workbench?" And I said, "Oh, I'd be thrilled." So it has been part of my life probably for 46 years, this old bench, and it has served me so well. But its time has come. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So we'll talk shop philosophy for just a second. And I think as I've progressed, I've moved away from a fixed bench. That was the old days. It was really a very powerful workstation for me. But having something that can slide, even though this isn't on wheels, it's got the sliders underneath it. So I can actually slide this big bench, which you've seen in a lot of the videos I've done if you've watched any. I've got my table saw, which is right there. It's up on wheels, so it can roll around. This red cabinet can roll around. Obviously, it's a tool chest. So I'm inclined to replace this with something that has a lot more storage, is a lot more mobile, and basically more flexible. I'm rethinking all the nuts and bolts here, although I think that's probably ends up being the best way to do that, but there may be another way. So I'll show you what I'm going to replace my old friend with here. So right out the shop here is our Husky, which is a Home Depot brand. It's a 46-inch 9-drawer mobile workbench, and with a wood top. And I did a lot of research on this. I'll post right here where one fellow did a comparison between this one and the Harbor Freight version. They end up being almost exactly the same price, and this was better construction, plus it has a plug on the side. You can see there. You can see in the picture down here too. And that's a nice benefit too. So you've got a mobile workstation, but it also has a plug strip on it already built in. For those of you who want to do something like this, yes, it's nice because I've got this little trailer, which you've seen in a bunch of videos. I'll post it here. I've used it for everything, wood chips and you name it. But I need to get it into the shop out, and I'll have to put the wheels on the bottom and the handle on it. It's not a very big install. But I need to move it around first, so I'm going to put it on this little cart. And that's nice, and it's pretty close to the same height as this trailer, so it makes it easy to slide it onto that. And then from that trailer down to the ground will be pretty straightforward. So if any of you wonder how I haul these kinds of things around without hurting myself, generally I try to use kind of a step-down process and lots of wheels. By the way, that's the instruction manual. You can see 46-inch 9-drawer mobile workbench. I paid approximately $350 for it, and that's exactly what the price is at Harbor Freight. It just turns out it was a lot easier to get to Home Depot, so this made a lot more sense. Plus, the review that the fellow did was indicated that this was a better build than the Harbor Freight one. So, as I guessed, there's the rotating ones. You can see there, those two rotate. These are fixed. The handle goes on the side with the electrical plug. So we have everything ready to go. So we just put the rotating ones on the side with the electrical plug, and the fixed ones on the other side. I like to put these things into a magnetic holder if I can. Just keeps things from flying all over the place and ended up underneath something you can't get to. So we've got both a hex in the middle, you can see that, and they've given us a hex wrench. So the hex, oops, get it up here so you can see it. The hex wrench will go in the middle of this, or we can use the outside with a socket. That's nice. That's a nice touch. And then they've got, that's it. So we just have these screw into the unit right through there. There's no washers or anything else. By the way, this is what that other fellow was reviewing, is this part. Let me scooch around here so you can see. This part apparently is more substantial on the Husky than it is on the Harbor Freight one. I don't know that for certain, but that's what he was talking about, is this cross member here. This is a strong piece of steel. Was not that strong on the Harbor Freight one, a little flimsier. And you kind of want something really strong for these so that the wheels don't end up, you know, if you're kind of torquing it around, you've got a lot of weight on it, that'll put a lot of strain on these, and again, correspondingly strain on the underneath part. So you want this to be good and strong, and it looks like this is. All right, next just put the handle on, and that uses, it's a round one, so you have to use their wrench and the little end of it. You can see it fits in there like that. I'm going to cheat again, and I'm going to use my drill because I have the same bit that I can put on this. So just come up here, line the handle up. That's the handle with the all right, so that's the handle and this little cord retainer unit attached, so it's good and solid. So that's really fully assembled. The only thing was this cord was inside one of the drawers, and there's instructions right here. You can see it tells you utility power cord located inside this drawer, and you pull it out through a little rubber grommet area. It should be pretty obvious. The only thing I'm going to add for myself is one of these Velcro strap things, and that'll help to hold it on here when I don't have it plugged in. So I've already added that. So it's time to rotate this around, put it on the wheels. Oh, before I do that, I think just because I'll probably rarely get under here, I might go ahead and put just a little bit of like something in here, probably WD-40 or 3-in-1 oil is probably even better, there and there on all these wheels, just to give it a little something. It's probably got grease in there, kind of looks like it, but I'm going to give it a little extra. All right, so the idea is to make them so they run nice and smooth, so I'm just using 3-in-1 oil, just 1 or 2 drops down there, and give the wheel a rotate. You can kind of tell when the oil's gotten into it. And I've already put some down here, so I'll do it over here as well. Just a couple of drops. Give that a rotate. And then a couple of drops down here. Rotate. So the other thing to make sure that's working are the stops. That's here. So you push this with your foot and open it up, and then it'll roll nicely. And then when you push down, it will stop it. So these will be locked. And the bottom ones down there don't have locks on them, just these. But once you lock these two, then it'll stay put. So we'll leave them unlocked for now. But I think I'll put just a drop of oil in that locking mechanism as well. See if I can get to it here without making a mess. There we go. That just makes it so it rotates nice and easily. Yep, good. There and there. Again, I'm doing all this because once I turn it up on the wheels, I'll probably never see the bottom side of this again. Once you get a tool chest loaded up with tools, it's pretty heavy. And, you know, it's a lot of work to unload it again. So, just make sure everything's working. All right. concrete now. It feels really nice. Yep, makes it very easy to roll. But now, able to start opening it up and see what's in here. There's these foam pads in here, so I've got to open those up and put them in. We'll do that next. Well, before we go any farther, I wanted to show you the comparison between these two. So here's the new, there's the old, and you can see our old one had 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 drawers, and this one has 9 drawers on it. I think that's right. And 2 really deep ones at the bottom, which I'll show you in a minute. But it's mobile, and the drawers are all fully extended. That means that they'll pull out all the way, so you can get to the back. You can get all the way into the back, whereas those drawers, you get too far out, and all of a sudden, the drawer will fall out of there, and you'll have a huge mess. So it was really tough to get to the back of those drawers, so this one has that. It's about the same height as my old one. Get it over there so you can see. It's slightly higher, but that's all right. And as far as depth, this one is a little shallower than this one, but you know what? I don't think that's going to be a problem. This has, they call it a real wood top, and I guess that is real wood on there. It looks like pine to me, so it's probably not, it's going to get dented pretty easily if I start banging on it. But I have a whole collection of these old cutting boards that I use all the time for this bench over here, which is a giant mess at this point, but I put that on there and helps keep it somewhat protected. So anyhow, from a comparison standpoint, we're pretty close. What I didn't talk about was this big old friend here. The vise is bolted onto this big old bench, and vices are always a challenge. You know, how do you handle that? So I'm going to have to look at this one and see if I want to mount a vise on that one, or if I want to mount it over on that bench, or what. So this is still a little bit of an open question, but I don't need to have a whole bench just so I can have a vise on it. Not at least in my shop. All right, so I took a time to repopulate at least this drawer with the drywall screws and the regular nails. And most of it's going to fit. I have some leftover junk here. I need to keep puzzling away out, see if I can get as much as I can in there. But it's done a nice job of packing right into that one. So I've decided to go ahead and use these kinds of labels for the toolbox. You can get these off of Amazon. I'll put a link down below. So we'll go ahead and put those various labels on the drawers that need them. All right, so here's all those magnetic labels that are hooked to these, and some of these drawers are still empty. Well, that one isn't, but I didn't have a label for it. This one has batteries. That one is almost empty. But I'll come around here to the other one. You can see the labels on there. There's little sockets and stuff in here. And there. It's really wonderful. Well, it's been over a year since I've worked on this, and they've just become full-fledged members of the shop now, and they work out awesome. And I know I said someplace in the video that I wanted these to be the same height as a bench, and that has worked out tremendous as well. So that bench and these and this bench, and I know it's covered up down there, but my table saw and my router table are all the same height, and this table over here as well. And so I can reconfigure the shop using these, which are very easy to move around, and really gives me great versatility in a small shop like this. I'm going to show you some examples of that right after this, after I say goodbye, but I'll give you a couple of examples of the shop being reconfigured to do various projects. So again, I'll say good luck on your shop carts. Hopefully you have an opportunity to invest in something like this. It's been a real game changer for me. And I want to thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye!